Welcome back. We're at the moment of truth where we're going to build our dashboard, our executive level dashboard, and we're going to be using some of the theories that we discussed in the previous video. So let's get started. The first thing you want to be able to do when your manager or the VP comes in, he sees his vital KPIs, the KPIs that are absolutely critical for his business. So I want to put those on the board right now. So we're going to use the card visual because we know what would be critical to a VP is how much money he's spending, what kind of profit he's generating, and overall sales. I'm going to pull some of these visuals down, and if we can always highlight all the visuals by pressing Control A, and then we go up to the ellipsis and pull it down. And we're going to make all of these smaller in a minute. First, I'm going to go over to the visualizations and click the card visual. You'll see it populate on your report pane, and then I'm going to add profit. So there's our profit number there, and I want that front and center at the top. Then I'm going to copy that, and then with Control C, and then press Control V to paste it. And then I'm going to add, instead of profit, which it's on now, I'm going to go down to our calculated column, pull that over the field where we have profit located and replace it with total sales. Then I'm going to copy, Control V, and paste, Control C, Control V. And then now, what do we need? We need our spend. So I'm going to go back over to the fields, drag spend over the field, and now we have those three. And instead of spent, because we don't know when he's going to be looking at this, we're going to change this by double clicking the name of our field and change it from spent to spend. And now we see that. Now we're going to have these at the top of our visual. But first, let's make some changes and think about what our VP or manager would like to see. So of course we know from our theory we only want the most critical metrics. And of course we have total sales, which is great. And we, in 1 second, he can see that the trend. But of course there's a couple campaigns that are running at the moment. And he probably would like to see those in one glance. So let's add campaign by going over and dropping it in that visual. And now we have all the campaign spend trended out. Next, let's take a look at our profit over time visual. This is a great visual. We can see where we've had profit and where we're at a loss. But there's one thing with this visual that is over complicated, and it's the number of years and dates. This is too much. So let's change that. Let's highlight that visual, go over to the paintbrush, which represents format, and we want to deal with this x-axis. So go back over, look at x-axis. Of course we can turn it on and off, but of course that's going to be difficult to discern which quarter we're in. But if we click that and we go down to this options, we can see that there's a minimum category, there's a maximum width, but what we're concerned with is concatenating the labels. So right now we're adding year and quarter, year and quarter. That is too much, so we're going to turn that off. And now we have the year at the bottom and the quarters here. It's very easy to see. Now we have that visual clean. Let's go over to our map. although this is a great map, I think looking at the size of the circles is great, but it doesn't give us a full picture, and plus it's probably not going to look very good in our map. So I'm going to go over, and our manager is probably only concerned with spend and profit, and he can highlight these just by looking at the color. So let's go over and click that map and change that map until a shape map, and boom, now we have our spend and profit. And as you can see, we changed spend here in that visual. We're going to have to change it here also by going over to color saturation and clicking on the field and writing spend. And now it's fixed. All right, so now it's kind of taking shape where we want it to be. We have our sales over time, our profit over time, where we're making money, where we're losing money, and who is making money for us. This is already shaping up to be a great executive level dashboard. But now let's put some controls in. All right, so let's make these visuals smaller because we want to make some room, and we want to what? Maximize our white space. We know we don't need that map that big, so I'm just making these smaller, and you can see that this is right there. Now all our information is right front and center. Now we can start beautifying this dashboard. Although we can see the ad managers and the campaigns here, your VP or your executive might want to slice this data by those top levels. So let's bring in what we call slicers. So under the visualization pane, you can click slicer, and we're going to bring in first, we're going to bring in who is making this money for us. So we just bring in our ad manager because that's who your executive is probably paying. And then now let's bring in another slicer. So we click on the white space, click slicer again. And of course, let's bring in campaign because this is something an executive would want to know. And now we can slice all that information by campaign or by the ad manager. So now let's go into the second part of this. So I'm going to stop that video right now, and then we're going to go into part 2, which is going to be adding backgrounds. See you in the next video.